Hi everyone, today we're going to be making mastectomy pillows for breast cancer patients. So this is going to end up being a heart-shaped pillow, and it is something that breast cancer patients can use after they have surgery to help them feel a little bit more comfortable and to support the area that they had surgery on. So the first thing I'm going to do is take my pattern piece, and if it's not cut out already, you're going to cut out these two pieces along the black line. So I'm just going to pause the video here and take care of that step. Now that my pieces are cut out, I'm going to look at my patterns and read that for the mastectomy pillow heart-shaped piece, I need 2 of these. And then if I look over here, it says to cut on fold. And for the pillow strap, I only need to cut 1, but I do need to also cut this on the fold. So here's my folded edge right over here. So what I can do is place this right over here, and I can pin this down and cut it out. But what I'm actually going to do is I am going to try and only have to cut once. So I'm going to take my fabric and fold it in half. And there is one piece, okay? So if I cut on the fold there, and then I'm actually going to fold this one more time. So one time there, and then one more time here. So I have these 2 folded edges that I'm lining up. Again, 2 folded edges that I'm lining up. I'm going to place my mastectomy pillow pattern down. Let me realign this just a touch. Perfect. So now I basically am going to cut just 1 time instead of cutting 2 times. That'll help save us all some of our time and effort. So what I'm doing, I'm pinning this pattern piece down. And whenever I pin, I want to make sure that all of my pins are within the paper pattern piece. I don't want any pins to be hanging off of the paper because we cannot cut through a pin. All right, beautiful. Now I'm all pinned and ready to go. I'm going to grab a pair of shears and cut this piece out. I'll pause the video here while I do that. Now I have my pillow piece cut out. So I have my 2 heart-shaped pieces here. And I'm going to find this tiny little scrap of fabric right here. You can see it's still folded in half. So I'm going to place this pattern piece right here on the fold. I only need 1 of these. And this is going to be for my strap. So I'm going to stick a pin right there and right there. And I'm going to cut this piece out as well. Always try to use the fabric with as little waste as humanly possible because we want to make sure we can get the most out of our fabric. So here I have my strap piece. I'm going to unpin that now. And for my strap piece, nice and easy, I'm actually just going to fold it into thirds. So I fold it in half and in half. And then I'm going to fold it in half one more time. This is going to end up being my strap. I would end up sewing this down. Something that will be really helpful is if you iron this piece flat before you sew it into place. So let me just get that pinned, and I'll show you what we're going to do with that after. All right, so I'm going to set that to the side. Again, that will be my strap. Now I'm going to take my mastectomy pillow, and I'm going to have 2 heart-shaped pieces. And I'll open these up. Let me zoom out again. There we go. There's piece number 1 and piece number 2. This fabric that I'm using right now does not have a right or a wrong side, but if it did, I would be putting my right sides together. So when you sew something, you always want to make sure that you are sewing things inside out rather than um, the pretty side facing you, because when you eventually flip it, you want the not pretty side of the fabric to be hidden away inside. So all I did here, I placed my 2 pieces on top of each other, and then I'm just going to pin around the perimeter, making sure I'm matching up my edges as I go. I'm going to focus a couple of pins on the curved edges. Curved edges are slightly more difficult places to sew. Straight edges are always going to be a little bit easier. You really only need a couple of pins for a project like this. All right, now I'm ready to hit the sewing machine. Here I am at my sewing machine. So I'm actually going to start with my strap piece, and all I'm going to do is sew on this outer edge right here and sew that folded piece together. So I place my strap in, and I'm going to place my pressure foot down, and I'm really just sewing on the edge of my pressure foot for this. So my pressure foot comes down. There's a lever in the back of the machine that lifts up and down. If you are sewing, the pressure foot must be in the down position. So I'm going to start sewing forward about 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I press this back stitch button right here. I'm going to do it 2 times. 1, 2. Now I'm going to go in reverse for a few stitches. Reverse 2, 3, 4, 5. Press it 1 time. And now also all the way down. I'm taking out my pins as I go. I do not want to sew over any pins because that can break your needle. When you get to the end of your strap, you're going to back stitch a second time. Back 2, 3, 4, 5. Front 2, 3, 4, 5. Now that I'm done sewing, I will lift my pressure foot, pull my strap out, and I'm going to cut my threads. There's a little blade on the side of the machine here to help you with that. So now my strap is ready to go. Now what I'm going to do is sew the perimeter of my mastectomy pillow, but I do actually want to leave a section. I'm going to leave a section down here at the bottom of about 2 to 3 inches open so I can flip and stuff my pillow. But in one of these top corners, I'm going to fold my strap in half, just like that, and place it inside the mastectomy pillow. This will eventually get reversed and come to the outside. So I'm going to open up this flap here, place that inside, and then line up those edges again and pin that strap in place. Beautiful. And now I'm ready to sew the whole perimeter. So I'm going to start down here near the bottom corner. Okay, so I'm near the point at the bottom of my mastectomy pillow. So I'm going to sew on the 5/8 seam allowance. That's going to be right over here. If I look at the plate, the edge of my fabric is going to say 5-8. And I place my pressure foot down. Then I'm going to start sewing forward 2, 3, 4, 5, back stitch 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to sew forward till I get maybe like a finger's length away from the edge. When I'm approaching my point, I turn my needle down and in. I'm going to zoom in so you can see that a little bit better. So I took my hand wheel, I turned my needle down and into the fabric. Just refocusing there. So the needle is down and in. Now I lift my pressure foot. I rotate the fabric, and now I bring my pressure foot back down, and now I'm going to start sewing in this direction. Again, as you approach pins, make sure you take them out. We don't want to sew over any pins. As you start to approach your curved edges, slow down. You do not need to go super fast for this. And I am curving my fabric as I go. If this is something you are not totally comfortable with, you can sew a little bit, bring your needle down, readjust a tiny little bit, and keep going. You're simply shifting the fabric as you sew along that curve. And you're taking your time. Now I'm curving in the other direction. This is the part that'll go underneath the arm. Coming back up. One more curve. Here I'm approaching where my strap is. I'm going to take this pin out at the last possible second, but I still do not want to sew over it. There we go. So most of my strap is in place. Now I'm going to finish that off and continue curving around, around, around. And again, I just need to leave a big enough space that I can flip this and stuff this. So about 3 inches really should be enough. Now that I've hit that space, I'm going to backstitch again. Back 2, 3, 4, 5, front 2, 3, 4, 5, lift my pressure foot and cut. I'm now ready to stuff this and sew it together, sew the opening closed, and I will show you that in another video.